Artist in Residence studio program excites the possible connections between primary education and post-secondary education. There usually is the component of secondary education, which is the emphasis of universities. But there's something about priming young creativity that happens and is at the core of the AIRS program, allowing visual arts to play a role, a significant formative role in sustaining imagination.
What is AIRS? What is it? It's actually really hard to define outside of the sort of basic structure of an artist going into a school, inhabiting a space. It is something that is emergent.
We're Tila and Lynn, and we are working at Mount Pleasant Elementary in Vancouver, BC, and we currently have an artist in residence program.
We've had this artist in residence program for 3 years now, which has been really awesome to be able to include the artists at our school.
And to just work with the university that's just down the hill from us also.
Yeah, each artist brings a different flavor and a different kind of opinion and things that they enjoy doing. So, for example, our first artist, she loved working outside with nature and she incorporated a lot of Indigenous perspectives. And then our second artist, he did a lot of hands-on claymation, story creation with the kids. And then our two new artists.
And now it's kind of like full circle, where we have, they do a little bit of everything, where it's digital as well as a hands-on experience.
Collaborative planning, collecting stories, connecting understandings, ongoing feedback, adjust as needed, find patterns, identify themes, emergent learning, journey of discovery, sensing capabilities, inclusive knowledge making, illuminate new questions, reciprocal, reflective, adaptive, iterative.
In many ways, the collaborative inquiry, as it pertains to, right, so there's the literal collaborative inquiry with teachers, but there is the collaborative inquiry, which is the formation of AIRS with partners and part of a broader conversation about arts education and the role of arts education and what that even is, right? For elementary school students and for university students and lifelong adult learners as they relate and share their practice. So partly the literal collaborative inquiry was a strategic positioning, right? And so this vision of the AIRS program was always an intervention, right? It's a claiming of space, both literally and figuratively, for the arts. The shift in the new curriculum was away from content-based learning to an understanding that content and learning is sort of undergirded by these core competencies, right? And so those were creativity, creative thinking, critical thinking, communication, and social and personal responsibility. But definitely within public education, the idea that the arts are, there is no conception that the arts are central even to development, human development, as it pertains to education. And I think the economic framework of education has really held sway and influenced the kinds of decisions that have been made around what is and is not important, what is or is not extraneous in education.
The omission of the arts is a very big lacuna the glue is missing, right? So if we're shifting from content-based learning to competency-based learning, then what exactly cultivates competency are those interpersonal interactions. So in many ways, the social emotional cultivation and well-being make sense as an emphasis. And what art can do that other disciplines or other fields or practices are not as successful in doing is suspending this idea of that there is a right and a wrong, that there are things that are measurable, that it needs to be accurate, that needs to be neat. I think art education allows for a kind of appreciation of neurodiversity that no other field can do. Precisely because even in the wielding or the exercise of judgment, one is always in community.
Having the artist take the time before the program even starts to speak with each teacher individually, and I think that's what Jamie did a really good job of, is she went and branched out and spoke to everyone and said, this is what I'm passionate about. What in your curriculum are you really going to be focusing on while I'm here? How can I incorporate my art into your curriculum, and how can you incorporate your interest in curriculum into what I'm doing? And it was a team collaboration, a project that not only was it collaborative within the students' cross grades, but it was between the teacher and the artist, and I think that worked really well.
And I find, okay, there are different ways that it could go. It could be, here's the art room, everyone come into the art room, and when you are here, that is it. The subject is art. But I found what was great was that it, with the collaborative model too, where, you invite the artist in the classroom first, get to know the students, the students get to know the artist, vice versa, and you kind of, become part of the community, and then from there, move it into the studio. So it doesn't feel like it's
segmented.
Two separate spaces. It's just a common space for everyone together too.
I appreciate that my title wasn't teacher while I was there, because it really just felt like the students and I were collaborating together, and it provided me the opportunity to just explore technical and conceptual aspects of my own practice with these students, such as ink making and dye and map making, and exploring connection to the land that we were on. The planning phase was exciting and nerve-wracking because it was the first time in a long while that there was going to be an artist in residence at this school. So we were transforming a space into the studio, and this provided a lot of opportunity to shape it the way I wanted to, but it was also a big transition for everyone in the school.
I'd also mutiny back to the Latin root of the word is to move. It's not to change, it's to move. So what it means to move together, echoing Maggie, certainly can't be done alone and couldn't be done in isolation. And that's something that recurs for me in terms of the value of AIRS as a program that is seeding different formations and arrangements in primary educational systems, which gives higher educational systems hope. Yep. To put somebody who doesn't belong in a space into that space anyway, and trusting that something positive will happen.